All right, weight loss, losing weight, shedding pounds, losing belly fat. You term it any which way you want to. It's still the same goal at the end of the day. How to effectively lose weight and sustain results. That's what matters at the end of the day. Not losing weight 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 pounds and then gaining it back after a period of time. No, losing the weight and keeping it off. But weight loss, why is the topic so confusing? Why is it hard for so many people to follow what would seem like basic things to do and lose weight? It is confusing, it is perplexing, it is overwhelming. That's why I'm here with my extensive background in health and research, years of that. A lot of trial and error, my own personal struggles, my struggles with weight, my struggles with general health. A lot of times it's confusing. A lot of times it's like you feel alone, you lose motivation, determination. You don't know where to turn. You're not sure what to do. You're not sure who to follow, who to talk to. A lot of times you set goals and you say, I'm going to achieve these goals. And what happens at the end of the day? A lot of people that I've seen, they set these goals. They're all about it. They're hyped up. They're excited. And then when it comes down to it, to actually taking action, it's like sometimes you draw a blank or you need someone there to kind of help and assist, almost one-on-one, to tell you what to eat and how to eat. And you'll question yourself at times. Sometimes things seem to work temporarily, then they fade away a little bit. And that's all understandable. That's understandable. What people promote, what a lot of gurus promote, they talk about diets and new fads and the new things that came out. I promise you this, the one thing that you need to know and the one thing that you need is to do this, is to think of it this way. It's not a diet or a fad. It is something that's going to be a way of life. It's something where there's a well-balanced way of eating and some moderation and just a way to do things that the smallest things can alter and turn around your life in the best way. So, without getting into any long-winded speeches and lectures, I'm not that person. I don't like that. I like to watch a video or see something and get right to it and gather the information I need and move forward. My information might be rather generic, and that's understandable because if I talk about certain topics, I can talk forever in a day. And so I don't want to do that. So what I'll do is I'll talk about certain topics, and in other videos, I'll get into detailed information about certain subject matter and certain things that we want to discuss related to health. So we'll go from there and do that. And by the way, this is my first video, so congratulations to me. Yay, yay, yay. Please pause for the applause and cheers. Perfect, thank you. And lastly, I want to let you guys know that I do this from the bottom of my heart, because not only did I struggle for so long with things like this, I also have family that have struggled quite tremendously with health issues, diabetes, thyroid issues, weight gain, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all kinds of matters that they couldn't seem to overcome. Be it older, younger, it doesn't matter. And these simple tips can apply to anybody. Keep that in mind. So without further ado, let's get started, dive right into it, and here we go. Number 1, carbohydrates. So carbs for short. What are carbs? Carbs are foods that we eat and put into our system that are broken down, that is broken down and is used as energy. As simple as that. Carbs do make people fat. People fail to understand that. Too many carbs will cause people to gain weight. Absolutely. People don't comprehend how and why. Chips are carbs. Pastas, bread, cereal, syrup, sugary things, carbohydrates, all that stuff, milk. Those types of things, cake, all that stuff that I just mentioned, simple carbs. Then you got your complex carbs. Complex carbs are the carbs that I stick to that are, for the most part, that are good for you. So vegetables is a prime example of complex carbs. Carbs go into your body, into your system, right? Is turned into glucose in your body. It's stored away. If you have an excess amount, that excess amount in turn is turned into fat and stored as fat in your body. Your liver works that process out. It happens that way. That's one aspect as to why people gain weight. The second aspect between simple and complex carbs is to think of this. Complex carbs, like vegetables, take a lot longer for your body to process and to digest. Okay? So in turn, it doesn't cause this great spike, this quick spike in sugar levels like simple carbs do. That's another reason why simple carbs are they're just not so great for you. They're not. Granted, people want to have their cake and their ice cream, absolutely. But those types of things, for people especially with diabetes and issues like that, they have to monitor and be careful about. They have to understand that. So when people eat something like chips, do they often relate something like eating chips to a lot of weight gain? Maybe, possibly. Do they relate eating chips to an increase in their sugar level? Probably not. They're probably not aware that those types of things, they're probably coming back and saying, wait a minute, I didn't have chocolate, I didn't have ice cream, I didn't have any of those things. So it's understandable why it's kind of confusing, but think of it simply like this. Two simple things. The amount of carbs that you eat and the type of carbs that you eat. You want to limit the amount that you put into your system, right? I'd rather have you guys have complex carbs, vegetables all day that contain great fiber, other nutrients, and endless sources of minerals and vitamins and all that stuff, as opposed to simple carbs all day long, right? So the amount of carbs that you eat and the type. So I would stick to complex carbs. I can list a few in the description below. But any questions, comments about that, please let me know. So the amount of carbs and then the type of carbs. That's number one. Number two, sugar. Sugar. Who doesn't love sugar? I love sugar. I love sweet stuff. I have a sweet tooth. I like my chocolate, my candy, my ice cream. From time to time, that is, I do. But for the sake and the purpose of losing weight, what is sugar going to do? Sugar is going to do essentially the same thing that carbs do. It goes without saying. People know, stay away from your sugar, right? You want to lose weight, you feel healthier, you feel better. Sugar absolutely contributes to weight loss, to insulin matters, diabetes, things like that. That goes back to your refined sugars. Refined meaning what? The cookies, cake, chocolate ice cream. There are different kind of sugars, your natural sugars, right, that you get from fruit, things like that. And without diving too deep in this topic, people that have diabetes and other issues like that, they still have to monitor what they eat. Everybody has to. Everybody should, for that matter. It's not just because fruit is fruit. Fruit is good for you. Fruit carries some fruit carry tremendous nutritional value. Absolutely. The vitamins you get, the minerals and nutrients, all that, yeah, absolutely. But it has to be in moderation. People have to monitor what they eat. You can't eat fruit endlessly with all kinds of sugar in it. It still contributes to your levels. It still has that kind of effect on your body that people have to understand. It is good for you on one end. At the same time, you have to be conscious of what you are doing and putting into your body. If somebody asks me, refined sugars as opposed to natural, of course, I'm going to say fruits all day long, not your cake, your chocolate, your ice cream, candy bars, cookies, all that stuff. But from time to time, it is okay if you can limit that. What does that mean, limit that? It means you really have to refrain from having that. If you had sugar, quite a few things throughout the day, you've got to rid of that from your eating habits. You have to. It's something that can be done. If you need tough love, get tough love. I've done it. My family's done it. Push comes to shove. Nobody has to pick up that Coke can that has 40-something grams of sugar, I think, in a 12-ounce can, is it, or 16-ounce bottle maybe? Nobody needs that. Nobody needs to deal with that. I think they removed the high fructose corn syrup. They changed stuff up a little bit, but nobody needs that for their system. In the end, when I got rid of my sugars, my refined sugars, I felt better. I felt healthier. When I started to eat well and be better, after not eating sugar for a while, when I put sugar back into my system, I felt lethargic. I felt tired, just fatigue and just icky all over because my body wasn't used to, all these bad sugars. And it was just something that completely, it turned everything upside down for me at least. So if you can refrain from that, it's not if you can do it. And you want tough love and motivation, determination, cut it out, right? If it's hard for you, you can't do it. You were someone that was eating sugar every single day. Monitor that, right? And kind of weed it out little by little. You need baby steps, take baby steps, that's absolutely fine. And that does include, this is what people don't think about as well. You go to the store, you see products on the shelf like certain juices, high sugar content juices, a bottle of juice, not just orange juice, but all kinds of juice, like grape juice, Capri Sun for kids. I hate calling out certain products and naming certain things, but those types of sugary drinks, along with soda, other things like that, you've got to rid of that. You've got to opt for something else. You cannot go that route. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel. I feel very strongly about that. While you see products on the shelf, you'll see like, yeah, it contains so much vitamin C, all natural, this, that, and the other. Would you ever see a product say something negative about itself? Would you ever see a product say, plus we carry 40-something grams of sugar, per serving or in this entire bottle? Never that. You would never see that, right? It's for the consumer to be alert and aware, to know and to educate themselves, to say, this is what this stuff is doing to my body. While it tastes good and it's something that I might crave at this moment, you've got to be alert. You got to be aware, and you have to do what's good for you and for your body. You got to think long term at the end of the day. So that's number 2, sugars. Try to cut it out, baby steps if need be. Get it done, make it happen, and on to number 3. Number 3, water. Wow, how fitting. We're just talking about high sugar content drinks and juices and soda and all that great stuff. Not so great. So what do you opt for instead? Get some water. Grab some water. What was the cliche saying like 25 years ago? 8-ounce glasses of water a day if you can, give or take. Right, okay. Water is accessible everywhere. You need water. Water flushes out your system. Hot water flushes out toxins. Cold water, you drink cold water. It forces your body to regulate the temperature of the water. Speeds up and boosts your metabolism. The endless benefits of water. I can sit here from now until next year talking about this. Just keep in your mind water. People often think that they drink enough. They don't drink enough. However, do not sit down and drink a ton of water at one sitting. Do not do that. People have died from that. And there's been several cases that you read about, you hear about. People can die from drinking too much water at one sitting. You can do that to your body. It's something that is dangerous. Don't do it that way. Do it throughout the day. Sometimes it's not the most convenient thing for people that have to use the restroom. They're not in ideal places. Maybe at work they can't use the restroom. They're in meetings, they're busy. Find a way. Make it happen. Don't complain about it. Don't cry about it. Adapt to it. Make it happen. Grab a bottle here and there throughout the day. Aim for what you can. Do what you can. For me personally, throughout the day, I drink about, give or take about maybe 3 liters a day. I know it seems a lot to a lot of people, but I spread that throughout the day. I work out, I do various things, so I need that. People drink. I know some people drink more, some people drink less, but it's absolutely dependent and it varies. But get that water into your system, not because your body is not telling you that you're thirsty means that you drank enough. Some people actually are not hydrated enough, and their body doesn't tell them that they're thirsty. So it doesn't mean that you have to have that indicator that, hey, I'm thirsty, now I drink some water. Just drink water throughout the day. Endless benefits. We can go on and on about it. Get that done. That absolutely aids and assists in weight loss. Number 4, dun dun dun. Portion control. Everyone's heard of portion control. We know what that is, and if you don't, here's what it is. You monitor and moderate the amount of food that you eat. You have portional sizes. You don't just go out there and say, I'm going to eat until I'm full and I can no longer eat. You don't fill yourself up and have 16 plates of all kinds of good foods. Have good foods, but just monitor the amount that you eat. Portion it out. So what's the ideal size? What do they say? Typically what you hear from people, and it's generally right. You go back and you think about throughout the day, you want to have about 4 to 5. If you can squeeze in 5, that's wonderful. Smaller meals throughout the day. So it's like a nice light breakfast. You'll snack maybe a couple, 2-3 hours later. A nice light lunch. You'll snack after that. A nice light dinner. And if you want, a little snack after that, if you can do that. 4 is ideal, 5 is okay for some people if they can. But the concept is simple. Eating portional size meals will definitely aid and assist in weight loss. How does that happen? How does it work? You when you're eating, you're boosting your metabolism that way. If you're constantly eating, I call it grazing throughout the day, right? Because I'm eating something and then I start to kind of condition my body to get used to that. And if I did that before, when I first started, I can recall that I wasn't used to that. And so I was used to just having my one meal a day, maybe two at most. I would kind of stuff myself. I'd be so hungry for that meal. I'd stuff myself, eat that food, thinking I was doing some good to myself and to my body, but I wasn't. It was actually the opposite, right? And sometimes I'd eat late. I'd get off work. I didn't have time. I couldn't find a way. You can find a way. Anybody can find a way. There is no excuse not to find a way. Take a Ziploc bag and have some little prepackaged snacks with you. Put some, walnuts and almonds in there. Take some things with you. Find out what's good, what works. Put some foods in there. Take it along with you if you can. You can, absolutely can. Do that and make it happen. But eating these meals is going to boost your metabolism, these smaller size meals. And if it's something that you've never done before, it's going to take possibly a little bit of time to adjust to that, to adapt to that, but your body will. So if you're not a breakfast eater, some people aren't. I need that breakfast to function. I'm absolutely hungry when I wake up all the time, and I need something in my stomach. So I have a nice light little breakfast, something healthy, something good. Maybe if I love blueberries. We'll get into that in another video. The antioxidants that it provides. Blueberries, I get some egg whites, sometimes with the yolk. We'll get into that in another video as well. Some people prefer some oatmeal, sugar-free, the raw stuff, the good stuff. There's been some debate about that as well, but just whatever you want, something good, light, and healthy, right? A little bit of protein, a little bit of carbs, maybe some nice fruit. Go about your day. Get your breakfast in, a little snack, a light lunch, a little snack, a light dinner. If you want to, a light snack after that. But doing that really does speed up and boost your metabolism. It was difficult for me at first, and it may be for some. Your body takes some time to adapt to that, but maybe after the first few days, if you're not a breakfast eater, if you're not a 4 or 5 meal eater, it does get a little bit of getting used to, but your body will adapt. So do that. Portion out your meals. Some people get into the idea, the concept of like intermittent fasting, and that's another video we'll talk about. They say it works for them. I can understand why to some degree, but to aid and assist in weight loss, this basic step, try to portion out your meals. Do that. Aim for 4 to 5. Eat healthy along the way, right? No sugars. Watch your carbs, your intake, and all that. And on to number 5. Number 5. Lastly, balance. Balance, to me, I think a lot of people overlook that. I think it's something that is crucial and imperative, but it is often overlooked. People use the term, the concept of dieting, I think, too loosely. I think they use it often. To me, when I think of diet, I think of people that say, okay, hey, have you tried this diet? Sure. I've tried it for the past 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks or a month, and I've lost 5, 6, 7 pounds. And when I think of that, I think people do it for a set amount of time or an extended period of time, and then they stop that and they go back to their regular way of life. That's when I think of dieting, right? And compare that to the concept of a way of life. To me, a way of life is something where you don't deprive yourself. It's just that. It's a way of life. It's what you do every day. You maintain this healthy lifestyle. You do amazing things for your body. It's something that is continuous. You don't stop it. You do it every day. But you won't be feeling like you're depriving yourself. You want to do it in a manner where, when I say balance, it's just that. It's balance. It's not, a lot of people sometimes, when they follow certain fads or diets, so to speak, they follow things that, sometimes something will lean heavily one way or the other, that'll consist of like nothing but protein or certain fats in this diet or this way of eating. And those types of things, when you leave out certain fruits, antioxidants, some diets leave out protein. Some diets will leave out carbs altogether, right? Some diets will leave out just various things that your body will need. It stuns me sometimes when I see these things that come out. It just blows my mind. There's all kinds of things out there. There's millions and millions of things that people follow. But to have a well-balanced, a well-rounded way of eating and a lifestyle, it's absolutely crucial. I've seen something like, what it was, the all cabbage diet at one point, even the ice cream diet and all fruit diet. How can you deprive your body of certain essential minerals and vitamins and nutrients that your body will need? You know, the concept that people like do these things, the idea, it just blows my mind at times. But I can see that happening, and I'll tell you why. I see it happen. I believe, at least, I see that happen from people because there comes a point where people are in such, I hate to use the word desperation, but it's like they'd almost do anything to reach that goal. They'd almost do anything that will help them with weight loss and try to get to a point that they want to get to. And that's what breaks my heart a lot of times, because I've seen people, you know, they'd hear something on the internet, they'd hear it from a friend, hey, this is the new thing, try this out. And all of a sudden it's like they may have tried things before, and then they have new life, you know, put into them, and they're all kinds of excited. They may try it, they can't sustain it, they fail, and they go back through this vicious cycle. And they'll say, wow, I've tried so many times. Ultimately, some people just quit and they stop. And they just don't want to, you know, do anything different because they say, I've tried before, nothing's worked for me. Personally, I've had a family member. They were at a state of almost having a diabetic coma. The doctor had warned them, this is where you're at. The person was older. Push comes to shove, they got very serious. I talked to the family member. I said, listen, this is a very serious matter. Let's sit down and talk. At times, people can be a little bit stubborn, and they have some ideas like all their life they've eaten a certain way, and to come in and suddenly tell them maybe this is not the best way. For example, my family member was big on certain lentils and healthy beans, you know, or they called it healthy, and it is healthy to a degree. But they were doing that so often, it was so high in carbs, and they could not understand and wrap their head around the idea, why is it the sugar levels were through the roof? Why is it that they were gaining weight? They had no idea. How am I, with something, you know, packed with iron and certain, you know, vitamins and minerals, how are my sugar levels high? I don't touch cake. I don't touch certain sugars. I don't do any of that stuff. I even cut fruit out of my, you know, my eating habits. So what is going on? You know, and I saw that sense of desperation in my family member. It almost brought me to tears. And it was at that point that, you know, we went hardcore and stuff. And with that specific situation, I did cut out fruit altogether with that family member, because that particular situation was something very dire and very serious. So that's understandable for that, since each situation, I kind of view it as circumstantial. You have to cater to the needs of that person and whatever health issues they may be going through. So I factored that in, and I thought about that. And, you know, what's sad to me is that, you know, even at a state that he was in, doctors that he was talking to were still promoting the idea of like, yeah, it's okay, have your breads, you know, have certain things that are high in carbs, and you can do that throughout the day. I went absolutely crazy, you know. It gets to you when it's one that you love and you care about. And, you know, so many people are just not as informed as they could be. And it just breaks my heart a lot of times when I see situations like that. So from that point on, you know, I've educated people around me, family members. That family member of mine, their sugar levels dropped almost instantly, right? Blood pressure got better. Levels went down to the point that their doctor was stunned and shocked, because he was taking pills for diabetes, and that they lowered the dosage of the pills, and they had to wait it out to see if his results were going to be sustained and last. I think it was like an additional 3 months before they decided to kind of get him off the pills altogether, you know. And this is right at the point, because he was refusing to take insulin, and it was a very bad situation. So here I am. I say that I won't go on and on about random things, and I drift from time to time, but I do it out of care and out of passion, and I do it to inform to the best of my ability. But balance is absolutely crucial and absolutely key. There's probably a lot of questions you may have, things I may have missed. Try not to deprive yourself when you do eat. Eat things, you know, that are, get your, you know, some fruit in there, get some protein, get the essential carbs that you do need. If you have questions, comments, concerns, anything else, I'm sure you will, because this is not something that people tend to grasp and learn overnight. It's something that takes a little bit of time, and it's absolutely okay. But I encourage you to never get discouraged. I encourage you to move forward, to have that determination, to let nothing but nothing stop you. The only thing that will stop you and get in your way is yourself. And that is cliche to say, but it is absolutely true. Absolutely. And some people may like my content, some may not, and that's fine. You know, to each their own. I can't please everybody, and people might know more things than I do about certain things, or they might claim that certain things work for them or do not, and I understand that. But I am here to try to educate and inform and fill in the gap for some people where there's just that unfortunate disconnect where what they think is the case and what actually is the case with a lot of things, if that makes sense. So many more videos to come. I hope that this may have done something for you. If not, I understand. It's okay. Please subscribe. Comments, questions, concerns, reach me directly. Whatever you have to do, that's fine. I'd love to deal with people one-on-one. Whatever I can do to be a benefit, to help, that's my end goal. That's what I want to do. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you next time. Take care. Be well. See you soon. Bye-bye.